Welcome everybody to Authors Without Borders Presents. I'm your host today. And today I'm going to be interviewing, believe it or not, I'm going to be talking directly to you. This is going to be a completely different show for Authors Without Borders, and I'm going to tell you why. I know we interview a lot of authors, the struggles they've had with getting their books out, and which is good. We hope that helps you. But what I want to find out today is exactly how many of you are really watching our show. So if you're an author, if you're a writer, or you're thinking about writing, I want you to go and get your cup of coffee, come and sit down and give me 20 minutes, because I want you to see another side of Authors Without Borders. Sometimes, even though you have a good show, you might see the same thing, and usually anything that's done over and over again gets boring, and we don't want that to happen. I want to show you another side that we can do other things for you during this half hour. So first of all, I want to talk about where I do workshops. So this is why I want to touch on talking to the writers. The first one I do is bring your manuscript to publication. How to publish your own book with CreateSpace. And my very last one I did was writing memoirs. So today I want to talk to writers so you can see this book, Bring Your Manuscript to Publication, goes right from your thought of a book right to the publishing and whether it's promoting and marketing, it's all put into one to at least get you started. Now, first of all, this year we're very proud. Authors Without Borders, we're celebrating our 10th year being together. Some of us met at Lakeville Library, and we were doing numerous book signings with different authors, and some met at writers' workshops. And that I can't stress enough to you if you're thinking about writing, is join a writers group. You can't imagine the things you learn from other authors. They'll tell you things to be careful not to do and things it's better to do it this way. You can get them at libraries, you can get them at bookstores. So just get on the phone and make some phone calls and take that moment some night and just go out and visit them and see if they can help you. Now, I know you probably say to yourself, where do I start? Well, you start today. You start this week. You turn the computer on and you start writing. If you don't, you're not going to get to that dream of yours. You're going to be looking at 10, 20, and 30 years going down the line. But the first thing I want to talk about is when you start writing, I'll take some things from my book. These are 3-hour programs, so there's no way I can cover them in 20 minutes. But what I want you to do is, how do you start? Well, you don't have to start in the beginning when you're writing. You have to put your thoughts down into a manuscript. So if you're writing a memoir, maybe a thought came into your mind and it's not when you were a child, but you want to get to that point, but you're thinking of something that happened in the middle of your life. Put it down. You've got to remember that computers are a great gift for any author or writer, because let's face it, you can cut, you can delete, you can paste, you can copy. You make mistakes. They're easy to take something from the bottom and shift it up to the front, or you go online. You find what you want, you copy and paste, and you put it in. So don't be scared of what you're going to do. The first thing when you're writing, you shouldn't be stressed out. It should be fun. I mean, there's so many different genres, and I want you to know, if you like what I'm trying to present in a short period of time today, that the other co-founders can do the same thing to help you. Joyce Keller-Walsh, I mean, she's fantastic. She can talk to you about her experiences and give you some pointers with mysteries. Pat Perry, she's got the fantasy. That's for the young and for the old. So she can give you points there. We get Willie Pleasant. She even has her own cable show in Boston, which is the Boston Neighborhood Network. And it's called Willie's Web. And she writes short stories and poetry. And I'm telling you, I hate to admit it, but I never cared for poetry. But after you listen to Willie, believe me, you're going to fall in love with poetry. So this is what I want you to do when you start your book. Just start writing everything. And I know myself, when I'm writing, if I'm in the middle of a sentence or a paragraph and I'm writing about, say, a certain event that's happening in my life, but then in a little corner of my mind, I'm saying, oh, but that would be good too. So what I do, I call it my light bulb. I stop my paragraph, go down a couple of spaces, I put it in bold, and I put what the topic is. At the end of the book, if you decide you don't want to use it, you don't, but you don't lose your train of thought. Also, I believe in saving. By that I mean, for myself personally, I write like a paragraph and I'll go up top in the left corner under file and I hit save. I want to make sure I don't lose anything. If you get a storm, you'd be surprised everything you wrote, all your thoughts, and if something blows, it's gone. And how do you save it? You buy yourself pen discs. I have 2 of them. You can see one's large, one's small. They'll all fit. You just put them right in the very back of your computer. But I'll tell you the mistake I made the first time I did mine, my first book. I thought I knew it all, but I was making a mistake from excitement. I would type my story right on my computer, and then I'd put it, of course, at the end of the day, you file it on your disk. But then maybe a week later, I started on the disk, and I tried to send it to the computer. So I got so fouled out in my book, it took me months to straighten out my manuscript. So try what's comfortable with you. Most likely start at your computer, save it at the end of the night on your pen disc. Maybe you're out riding and your mind is blank on your manuscript that you're writing, but maybe you're driving and you're going even in the grocery store and you say, wow, that would be a fantastic idea for my book. But by the time you put the groceries in the car and you get home, it's gone. So I bought this maybe 6 years ago. I know things go up in prices. I got this for $49, and you still can buy them a little cheap. I didn't want anything fancy, but I got myself, this is a tape recorder. It worked perfect. When I did my second book to get information from my first daughter after I lost my daughter Lori, I just put it on, and it works great. You can do it even if you're on vacation. You say, I don't even want to bring any books with me. I'm tired of writing. At least bring your tape recorder, because maybe while you're sitting on the beach, you're going to think of plenty of ideas that you want to do. Business cards. Get your business cards out early. You don't have to have the name of the book on it. You can just have your name, your address. So if you speak to people about your book, you can pass them out. Other people, I don't know where they go for theirs, but I like to go to Vistaprint. You can make up your own, or they have some already made up for you. Just go to the site, browse around, and see what you like. Another thing I think all of us, all the co-authors with Authors Without Borders, we love 2 magazines. Don't even wait until you're starting to write. If you really want to learn about writing, these are 2 books I highly, highly recommend. I want you to go to The Writer. This has everything written by other authors, editors, agents, publishers, what they're looking for and what they don't want. Same thing with the Reader's Digest. These 2 books, I'm like a little kid when it comes in the mail. I cannot wait to receive them. I like them so much, I swear I have maybe 60 of them at home, and I can't even get rid of them, because even now, at all the years that I've been writing since 2006, maybe I'm thinking of something. I'm saying, how am I going to do this? I pull my 60 books out, my magazines, I should say, and I look at their topics, and sure enough, there's something in there that I need. So before you even get started, put your name in for these subscriptions. Just go online. Sometimes you can go in the libraries and they'll have them, and just pull the center part out with the mailing. So I want you to know a little bit more about Authors Without Borders too, because I don't want you to think that all we do is sit and interview people on the cable show. I'll tell you how we got to the cable show and why. That's the main purpose of what I'm trying to talk about today. I'd say it was about 4 years ago, we saw a little article in the paper that the NBTV 95 station was going to have a class on how to run the cameras. We said, what a great idea that would be. We thought first to promote ourselves, but that really wasn't the reason. We wanted to reach out to other writers. We didn't want you to come to the point that I think all of us did in our group. I stood there with my manuscript that was all done in my living room, and I'm saying, where do I go from here? I had no idea. I didn't know an author. I didn't know anything. But that's why we started this show, believe it or not, for you. And that's what I want to know today. How many of you are actually watching the show? I want you to email us. And our email, I'll give it, but it's probably hard to remember. I'm sure the station will put it on the air for us. And also, visit our site. Look up each and every one of us co-founders. Learn about our backgrounds, what we're doing, how hard we had with doing this. But anyway, the email will be authors, WB, the numeral 6, @gmail.com. And of course, our website is awb6.com, which stands for Authors Without Borders. And we have the 6 because we used to have 6 members. But what we do on our group also is we offer, and we don't talk about it much on our show here, on the cable show, we have associate members. You get a lot. And most of all, the most important is support. And what we do is once a year, and if it turns out well, we might even turn around and do it twice a year. It costs nothing. We call up our members. We let them know we're going to have a get-together. We have coffee. We have refreshments. And we have a great time. All we do is talk about what's working for us, what isn't for you. I'm blank on this. I don't know where to go from here. Can you help me? And it's just a bringing together authors and writers, because a lot of us have books already, but that doesn't mean because you're an author that you still don't run into a problem. But when you start your writing, also try to write with emotion. To me, that's the number one thing. I don't care what the genre is. You have to write with emotion. That's what's going to pull the person into your book. And another thing we talk about is the hook. The hook is what you want to grab the agent, the publisher, or even I would say the hook is really the main thing. If you've got a reader that picks up your book, they're going to read that first paragraph. If they're not excited about it, bring up exactly what is your book going to contain? What is the tragedy going to be? What is the problem that the author wants to solve with this character? In the middle, you have to have the plot. How are they working to get to this problem, to solve it? And of course, at the end is how you do solve it. A lot of people say you have to end the book with happiness. Sometimes you don't. It's reality. It doesn't end that way. But the point is you have to keep that person in contact with your book and the interest. The back of the book, the synopsis, the same thing. You have to pull them in with some kind of excitement that's going to go on in the book. And I also want to talk about a book cover. I know I'm talking fast and I know I'm jumbling all over the place. I apologize. It's just that I'm really trying to get as much an hour or 3 hours of my workshop into 20 minutes. But if you like the show, and if you like me talking about these things, every now and then we can come back and take one topic and just talk about it. We want to hear what you want to hear. What is going to help you watching our show? So send us the email, and there's 4 of us. If one doesn't know the answer, the other one will. We're not just like for the associate members. It's not just once a year to get together. We are every day waiting to hear from anybody that needs help. So now that I wanted to make sure I covered this. Oh, also, once you get your book up and you're doing festivals, make sure you get a PayPal account or you get a Square Up. This is fantastic for credit cards. They'll send you this. You can put this right by your books, just like this, and people will know when they come up already. Another thing I got, you'll need a postcard. A poster. Depends what you want. You can have a beautiful poster of your book. I write and have written about losing my husband and daughter from alcohol abuse. So I went to AA on a site where they sell posters, cards with different sayings, and I got this one. And it says, can you spot the alcoholic? They're all different kinds of people, construction, children from school. It doesn't matter because you look at it and you're not going to tell who the alcoholic is. But I'm going to tell you something. When I put it up, and I think even the co-authors who go with me all admit, it's unbelievable how this sign pulls people in. And that's what you want. You want to pull people in. So when you start to write your story, I want you to learn, like I said, make sure you save. Now you say to yourself, well, what do I do for characters? You'd be surprised how well you can find where characters are. Going to an airport. You're going to a family gathering. You're going to a wedding. You're going to the mall. It doesn't matter. Look around at people. If you've got a little chair to sit there and watch them. If you're writing about, how many times do we hear, show, don't tell? Okay? Say you're at an accident. You're at an accident scene. You hear the crash. You don't want to just say, oh, Mary walked by and she saw a car accident. You have to really pull it in with description. You have to show it. You heard the brakes screeching. You saw a man getting out of the car. He was covered with blood, he was injured, or somebody got out and he was so angry. Talk about the expression on his face. You've got to remember when you are writing a book, but don't panic if you're just writing. You learn this as it comes. And that's why you also need an editor. If you put money out for anything with your books, make sure you get an editor. Because if you, and I hate to say it because it happened with my first book, when someone picks up a book and they see nothing but errors all over the place, misspelling or too much spacing, their whole mind doesn't stay on the story. So put the money out and make sure you get an editor, and most editors will work with you. But I'm telling you, I have to keep going back to the writers' workshops. You run into a problem, they're there to help you. They'll tell you, oh, don't call this agent, this is the problem you had, or take this out of your book, you don't want that. We really need to network. When you are a writer, to me that's one of the most important things, is to make sure you connect with other authors. I'm sure authors, a lot of us, we work alone, but why do it when you don't have to? I find if I'm getting depressed writing my book, you send your query letters out, and you say, oh my gosh, I'm not even getting anything. I sent 90 of them out. Thank heavens I got the other co-founders with me, because they boost you up. And somehow when you're ready to throw everything just out, that's the end of it, all of a sudden, some way, you wake up the next morning and again, there you go. You got the energy to write again. And you're laughing at me, but let me tell you something. For any of you listening that you want to write, you say, well, I don't know how to get started. Well, you get started, because I will guarantee you within a month after you start writing, you're going to hear the school bus stop and the kids getting off the school bus. You're going to look at the clock and say, oh, it's almost supper time. I got to get my supper. I got to get the supper for the family. You're almost going to hate to do that because you're so involved with your book now. It's like you live and breathe for this book. And it happens. And that's good. But of course, you have to put supper on. So I wish I could cover everything for all of you. What I wanted to do today was show you another side of all of us. And I'm not the only one in our group that can offer something like this. But next time, if you have to email us, so I know you're really interested in what I talked about. If you are, we will try, each of us, to take maybe once a month, come in and talk to you about whatever our genres are, the problems we had, how we can help you improve on it, so that you're not alone. But it takes togetherness. We don't want to stop the show. We've had some great authors on here to help you. So let us know. That's all we want to know. And if there's something we're missing that you need, give us a call, or you can just send us an email. We'll answer you and let us know. Take time for yourself. Get that book out that you want to. Don't wait till it's 30, 40, or 50 years later and you say, I wonder if I could have done that. Know that you can do it. So like I said, send us an email. We'll look forward to it. And I thank you for listening. And now you can go back to vacuuming and maybe dusting. And I thank you for spending the little 20 minutes with me. Thank you. Have a good day.